In this video, I want to talk with you guys about Robinhood stock, and hopefully this is a great video for you to be able to have a better understanding of where Robinhood stock has some potential to grow, and maybe what you want to look for in the stock that might maybe hinder the stock's growth. And I want to go over both of these things so you can kind of see the stock has been on an absolute uptrend, up over 100% in the past few months. And it's really back to where it was when it first IPO'd. When it IPO'd, I remember buying after it sold off a little bit around $34, and I held for a very long time, and it went down. I don't know. I think it was like $10 or something like that, and it came all the way back now to the $34 price point. And you got to ask yourself, when you have a company that is so disruptive, and they go through so much, what are the things we want to identify as what would make it a good deal? And so I think Robinhood stock has a tremendous challenge on its hands, and it also has some great innovations that I believe will really help propel their stock forward. So the first thing I want to go over is some of the narrative and the challenges. They've kind of overcome a good amount of the negative connotation associated with their meme stock kind of debacle that happened, where they were making it so that everybody could only sell their meme stock. And this was AMC and GameStop. And I remember a lot of people were extremely upset at Robinhood for this, because essentially this meme stock was going up like crazy, and they made it so that you could only sell your position. And it came down to a couple things related to preventing having liquidity issues where people, let's say, wouldn't be able to sell at all later because a lot of people were buying the meme stocks on margin. And when this happened, there was so much hatred towards Robinhood. I remember that almost everybody that I knew that was using Robinhood said that I'm not going to use Robinhood anymore. They're like a scamming company. They don't look out for the best interests. They're the opposite of what their mission is, to democratize the financial system and things like that. But when I really dove into it, I thought that it was actually handled quite well. And before you might say, well, so many people lost money because of that, there's a couple things to consider. The first thing is, number one, they had a regulatory requirements that they don't allow that stock to be purchased on so much margin, and basically allow for what could have been a liquidity issue. So they had a regulatory requirement to do that. They weren't the only brokerage that do that. All the other brokerages that were operating also made it so you could only sell the stock at the time when it has gone up, hundreds of percentages points. Now, where it gets really tricky is that you might say, well, they could have at least made it so that you couldn't buy or you couldn't sell. Just lock the stock completely, so that way there's not a massive change in volume and it starts selling off. Because obviously, if it's only allowed to sell off, it's going to go down only. That's the only option, right? Well, here's the deal. All of the other brokerages that were also processing millions of dollars of volume at that time, those brokerages were giving the option to sell only. So imagine how much worse it would have been on Robinhood if they made it so that you couldn't buy and you couldn't sell, and you just locked it completely. So now people on Robinhood, they can't even sell their position, and other brokerages that are buying the position are selling. And now the Robinhood users can't sell. They can't get out of the position. They have no option but to hold it. And that would have been even worse. So, when you have the regulatory imposing regulatory practices, that now you have other brokerages and you have to protect your users. That was the only way that they really could have handled it without facing an issue with liquidity, because it came down to margin and people borrowing money as well. So that was the first thing that I think was a challenge they've had to overcome. They've overcome it in a lot of ways. They've added like 4% matching when you transfer your Roth IRA. They have zero fees on your Roth IRA zero fees on your commissions. All the other brokerages are struggling because they're like, well, now if we go zero fees, then maybe people won't switch to, they're going to just switch to Robinhood because they're going to say, well, why were we paying it? So all the other brokerages start going free. And you see these different brokerages kind of like getting bought out and going away because people are switching, and there's a massive amount of assets increase over at Robinhood from people that are getting the 4% match or that 1% match for all deposits. And there's no cap. I think it's like, even if you deposit $1 million, you get a 1% match on your money. So there is a lot of great parts in that instance. They are really great with their analysis tools on the phone, especially if you have Robinhood Gold. So this is where they increase their revenue. They offer a partnership with Morningstar, which is a great analyst group, and they give you the full reports. You can see economic moats and things like that, including the buy and sell ratings from all the analysts. You get the full reports, the earnings reports, all on Robinhood, and that's something that I think a lot of people value. You can tune into the live earnings call directly from the platform. You get the news articles there as well. And it's easy to go back and forth through margin on Robinhood. And you can just toggle between your IRA and your account. But there's something that they recently introduced that has been really good, but it's also something that if they don't fix, I think it's making me, there's two things that make me go to other platforms as opposed to Robinhood. While their stock is growing significantly, right, there's still a couple things. They just introduced Robinhood Legend, which is a great technical analysis platform, similar to like Thinkorswim. You know, especially if they're going for the 24-hour market, which they did introduce, so that you can trade stocks 24 hours as long as you do a limit order and it's whole shares. If they really are like, let's do 24-hour market, being able to do the crypto trading on the Robinhood Legend, their new platform, just makes so much more sense than only being able to trade stocks. So you add this new great tool for analysis, but you can't trade one of the hottest assets in the world right now. I don't know. I think that's something that's like, oh, I got to go use another platform. Or maybe I have to use just the regular Robinhood. I also don't really like the spreads that are set up for crypto. You could do a limit price. Sometimes it gets filled, but just charge the estimated gas fee or the estimated fee for it, but don't put the spreads there too to kind of like maybe elude that it's the spread you're paying and not the gas or something like that. I don't think that should be that way. I think it should just be like direct, like correlated with that crypto, and you pay whatever the market is, you know, whatever it offers. I think that's very important. Like Solana would be cheap to trade, whereas, you know, if you're trading Ethereum, it's going to be more, like, because Ethereum has gas fees, Solana is less than a penny per transaction. Like, do something like that where it's just very straightforward about the what you're paying. So that's something that they're gonna have to add because I'm using other platforms. There's two more things that will make Robinhood just grow even faster, and that they need to improve, right? Now, one thing that they did amazing is they introduced the betting on the election so that you could bet on either side. I think they made millions and millions of dollars by introducing that betting option on that event in the elections. I think they should do that more. Now, that was a great thing. I think it's going to increase their value. I think their earnings call is going to see a jump in numbers because they capitalize on that event. And I think they should do that for more sports events if they can, you know, depending on how the betting or things like that work out. But I think that's something that a lot of Robinhood users would be interested in. And they saw millions and millions of dollars in revenue when they added the betting for Democrat or Republican. Now, the thing that I find myself leaving Robinhood a lot to go check is they don't have the all-time timeline in the cryptos. They only have the 5-year. And now someone that likes to do analysis on the bull run and say, how's this cycle versus last cycle versus 2017, and like really look at the whole history, you don't get to do that on just a 5-year on the crypto analysis on Robinhood. So they have to add the max time length where you can go back to where that crypto started and you can zoom in or whatever to see the full picture on a crypto, not just 5 years. It's getting to the point where we have these different cycles, these market cycles, where you want to be able to go back further than 5 years. And I think that's something they have to add, because honestly, I leave the platform to go search on Google on the all time to really see on TradingView or whatever to see the full picture of a stock. So they have to add the lifetime for cryptos. They have the max lifetime on the stocks, but not on the cryptos. That's something they need to add. Now, one of the essential things they really need is, if you are using Robinhood Legend, which is their trading platform, that you can trade options on the charts. I've had so many people say, hey, I'm trying to, they don't have the crypto on Robinhood Legend, and they don't have the trading options on the chart. And a lot of people are telling me that that should be something they do. I don't personally find that I need it, but I've heard dozens of requests saying, can you trade options directly on the charts as you can with other platforms? And that's something that they aren't offering at this moment. Now, as we look into the future with Robinhood, I think they're going to continue to innovate. I really like what they're doing. They're seeing a lot of assets come over from other platforms. Even myself transferring my Charles Schwab, I think I'm going to be transferring over just because they have the match. I've really studied. They don't have fees on the Roth IRA, so I like that. But on top of that, one thing that I think they're going to do, if you look at Vlad, the CEO, before he started Robinhood, he was someone that was really deep in algorithmic trading. I believe he started a company related to algorithmic trading, and kind of basically having, I don't know if it was trading bots, but being able to have algorithms that automatically make decisions in the markets to trade the markets. And that's a really interesting thing, because I think with AI, I find myself being more and more impressed with ChatGPT and how accurate it can be with helping you make decisions while investing. You put over a screenshot of a stock on the ChatGPT and it tells you, hey, you might want to, here's a support level, here's a resistance. If it breaks below, $425, that could be indication of bearish trend, and that's just below that is maybe where you want to set a stop loss. Or it'll say, hey, it dipped, the market dipped in your investment, but hey, just detach emotions. Where do you see this going in the long term? How is the value? And then it will even have real-time value that it can provide you around the stock. So I think that having an AI element for analyzing stuff, they have, all these tools that help you analyze. They have Morningstar, the buy and sell ratings, the economic moats and the stewardship, and you can look at the earnings, and then you have the MACD and the RSI and all the indicators on Robinhood. But if they add that kind of AI analyzation elements right now in 2024, 2025, going into the future, I think would be a game changer, and something that would honestly probably get people using the platform more, simply for that. Because I think it's a tool in itself, and I think it's something that could be its own application, and it is an endeavor. But as AI becomes more and more real-time, more intelligent, and using real-time data, and it can process so much data at once, I think it just makes sense to kind of go in that direction. And I think with Vlad kind of, testing, pushing the limits on a lot of technology in the financial markets, the CEO, I could see that he could introduce something along the lines of AI analyzation. It would have to come with some disclaimers, of course, but that's the same thing with the buy and sell ratings and things like that, right? Obviously, just because it says buy doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go up, but those are things that you have to consider. So I'm really excited for the future of Robinhood as a whole. I think they're a great platform, and I think that we're going to see their stock continue to rise so long as they continue to please their investors, the people that use the platform continually. And I think they're starting to build a stronger and stronger brand over time. So that's going to do it for this video. If you guys would like to watch me trade live as soon as market open on Monday, feel free to check out that second link down below. That's StockMate, where I go live and trade with other investors, traders, all people interested in AI and tech companies. So I encourage you to simply take a look. Thank you guys so much for watching. If I need your thumbs up, hit that like button to consider subscribing. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.